Yo, PSA kackt rein in dem Sinne. Willkommen, meine Damen, meine Herren, zu einem weiteren Video hier auf meinem Kanal. Wir haben heute mal wieder ein Video von einem YouTuber, den ich sehr schätze und der für Qualität steht. Und zwar ist es der gute D-Pocket-Monster. Wir haben schon, ich glaube, einmal oder zweimal auf seine Videos reagiert. Und er hat mich sogar auf Twitter mehr oder weniger angeschrieben, hat sich bedankt dafür. Liebe geht raus an die guten Jungen. Er macht halt einfach verdammt gute Videos. Ich gucke auch privat super gerne seine Openings rein, weil es auch sehr interessante Sachen sind, auf die er eingeht. Und jetzt haben wir ein Thema. I let the sun damage my Pokémon cards, so you don't have to. Pokémon-Karten sind halt Pappe. Aber was passiert, wenn man diese halt länger in der Sonne hinpackt? Normalerweise faden diese Karten. Das heißt, sie verlieren ihre Farbe und das UV-Licht, was halt von der Sonne kommt, zerstört die Struktur des Ganzen und lässt das Ganze halt anders aussehen. Doch wie lange dauert das und wie krass muss das sein und wann sind Karten geschützt? Weil selbst Karten, die in einem Grading Case sind, können immer noch halt von der Sonne angegriffen werden und können halt ausbleichen. Dementsprechend jetten wir rein, wir gehen in den Modus.
This card was damaged with 430 quintillion joules of energy per hour for a week, which basically means it was out in the sun too long. In this video, we're gonna experiment to see just how much damage the sun...
By the way, seine Editings sind halt wirklich gut halt, ne? Also das ist... Er macht wirklich vernünftige Videos mit mehreren Kameraeinstellungen. Ich habe auch gerade schon gesehen, hier auch Karten, die gegradet sind in Toploadern, unterschiedliche Firmen, die er hier testet. Extrem interessantes Video, ich bin super gespannt, ey.
Just how much damage the sun can do to our cards. And yes, that includes graded cards. I'm sacrificing some of my collection so you can protect yours, and of course, for science.
It's a science experiment!
Let's get started. Here are our test subjects for this experiment. First up, we have a regular non-hollow Ladybomb. Now, you might be wondering, why are there 4? Well, that's because we're testing 4 different scenarios. One of...
Wie ich schon sagte halt, ne, was halt interessant ist, direkt in der Sonne, vielleicht an einem Fenster, vielleicht ein bisschen schattiger. Gerade Leute, die vielleicht ein offenes Zimmer haben, wo die Sonne ordentlich reinscheint und vielleicht sogar eine Vitrine haben, wo die Karten drin stehen. Es kann immer möglich sein, dass die Karten halt vom Licht betroffen werden und deswegen faden. Und das wäre halt nicht cool, gerade wenn es halt teure Karten sein sollten. Oder allgemein Karten, mit denen ihr sehr viel verbindet.
These going out in the direct sunlight. This one's gonna go outside, but we're gonna keep it in the shade the entire time. This one, we're gonna bring inside indirect light from windows. And then finally, this one is gonna be in a storage box. This will be our control. And like I said, we've got a bunch of different types of...
Auch interessant mit der Box halt, ne? Das fragen mich halt auch immer sehr viele. Wie sollte ich meine Karten am besten verstauen oder ähnliches? Und ich kann euch da eine Sache sagen, was ich halt immer wieder mache und die ich halt auch als sehr smart empfinde. Benutzt, wenn ihr wertvolle Karten habt, einfach Tinboxen. Da passiert gar nichts mehr. Wirklich nicht.
Got a regular non-hollow vintage card. What's up, Krabby? Don't be crabby. Then a reverse hollow Caterpie. We're looking at a Starmie GX from Hidden Fates, sort of a full card hollow treatment, and we're gonna see what happens with that. Frostless hollow. So sorry, Frostless. You've become the meme of the channel for sure. Ball Guy, a full art trainer. We'll see what happens to him. A Rainbow from Shining Fates. That's Alchemy.
Alles sehr günstige Karten, aber halt die unterschiedlichen Rarity-Stufen mal zu gucken, wie sich die Karten verhalten. Finde ich gut.
And then the multi-switch gold card. Okay, that's a lot of cards to experiment with. It's gonna be fun to see what happens in the end, but that's not it.
But I'm not done yet!
Next, we're gonna check out what happens when the following all goes in direct sunlight the entire time. So we got some booster boxes, an English Breakpoint box that I had laying around, and an Eevee Heroes booster box from Japan. And then finally, we've got Froakie. He's gonna be taking one for the team for us. We've got Froakie in a soft sleeve, then Froakie in a card saver. Then we have a Froakie in a top loader. Then, yes, for full direct sunlight tests, we've got Froakie from BGS or Beckett at a 9.5. We've got a CGC 9 graded.
Also alleine halt das Ganze aufzuziehen, so ein Video zu machen, ist halt extrem hochwertig und dementsprechend muss ich da einfach Chapeau sagen bisher. Deswegen mag ich seinen Channel auch sehr und wie gesagt, deswegen sage ich euch halt auch, yo, wenn ihr geile Videos sehen wollt, checkt auf jeden Fall den Kanal ab. Gibt's halt nicht mal in einem Jahr oder sowas.
And a PSA Mint 9 Froakie as well. We'll see if these cases do any sort of protection at all. Yeah, this is kind of crazy, but we always do crazy here on the channel. Let's go outside and let's set them up.
All right, so here we are in my backyard. We're gonna be placing these items here right on the slab, which gets sun
all day long. I live in San Diego, California, so it's sunny for a large part of the day. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna secure these items down with some masking tape across the center of them. That way we can actually see when we remove the tape on the card itself what the difference is. Plus we're gonna compare it to the control as well. So let's tape these items down, and I'll move these. We have a regular card, vintage card, reverse holographic, GX holographic, full art, then the rainbow, and the gold card. Then here are our Froakies. We're gonna keep our other Froakie sort of sealed up in a box so we have it as control. Let's tape them all up. We're going to check on them overnight after 24 hours to see exactly if there's been any sort of color change.
Aber was passiert, wenn es jetzt regnet? Vor allem, ich kann so ein Experiment auch gar nicht machen. In Hamburg regnet es gefühlt jeden Tag. Ich könnte ein Experiment machen, wie sich Karten im Wasser verhalten.
We're also gonna place these extra cards around the house, outside in the shade, inside next to a window, and then our controls inside a box. So we have those to compare against, and we'll leave this up here for maybe a week total just to see how much damage was done. So stick around to the end so we can see exactly what happens.
Yes, science!
It's day one, like 24 hours since putting this up. They've had about 8 to 9 hours of sun so far, and nothing has changed. I'm gonna take this out of the sleeve here. No change, no nothing yet. So all that to say, leaving your cards out for one day likely isn't gonna affect anything. Question is, how many days until things start to happen? Okay, so it's been 72 hours, so 3 days. So let's start with the cards that are outdoors but in the shade. So here they are. They actually look okay. So let's take the Krabby, for example. If I were to take this out, you'd see that there really isn't a change in the coloring in that area. Let's take the Ladybah out as well. Those look okay, but I want to take these two.
Die Karten kriegen doch alle voll den Sonnenbrand wegen den Klebestreifen, oder?
Look at the ones that were directly in the sun. I want to show you some. Look at the discoloration.
Das sieht schon anders aus.
Krabby. And actually, when I slide this out,
das ist ja gar nicht mehr gelb, oder sieht das wirklich nur so aus?
Look at the change in color.
Da ist der Sonnenbrand, den ich meinte halt. Holy shit, Alter. Das ist extrem krank.
You could see it in the little area where the tape was. Let's put the Krabby next to it, just so you can see the differences there. That's just 72 hours on that vintage card.
3 Tage nur.
Insane. And look, you can tell there is in fact some color differences there.
Man sieht's halt echt gut durch den Streifen hier, ey.
The tape was right here, the difference in the color there. So anyway, we got a lot more time to give this, but we are starting to see something happen. So we're gonna keep this going for a few more days and then look at the differences.
Das ist die Strahlung, Chat. Das ist die
It's
Strahlung.
been exactly 2 weeks, and unfortunately, last night, the rain decided to come out. And so our cards...
das ist ärgerlich. Ich hab's gesagt, Alter. Was passiert, wenn's regnet, Alter? Ich hoffe, er hat's gemerkt.
Now, at least the ones that were just in regular sleeves are a little bit wet. No, look at that. You know, we're getting a little bit of curling here. I don't think that'll change the experiment too much, but yeah, I think we're done. So let's go look at the cards and compare and contrast.
Jetzt bin ich sehr gespannt, Alter, ey, wie die Karten sind, die ein bisschen schattiger waren oder ähnliches.
All right, and we are now ready for the results. What we're gonna do one at a time is we're gonna pull out...
Ich glaube, die Karten in der Box, wie sollen die was abbekommen haben? Halt, die können höchstens Feuchtigkeit abbekommen haben, weil sie draußen waren, aber mehr halt auch, glaube ich, nicht.
Each card, and we're gonna pop them here into this display area. We're gonna have the control, then we're gonna have the indoor, then the outdoor shaded, and then the outdoor direct light. So first, let's pull the indoor, and generally speaking, you likely will not see a difference. The reason is because it is that direct light that does most of the damage. So thankfully, we are okay if we were to leave our cards out on our table or our desk, even if there was a window. Now, of course, if there's direct light coming into that window, then that's not necessarily going to work very well. So this is now outdoors, but in some shade. Now remember, there was that piece of tape in the middle there, and that's where we would notice a difference. Sometimes there are card coloration differences from print runs and things like that. But right now, I don't see anything in particular that would tell me that there was some issues with the ones that were shaded. And now we're gonna look at the outdoor, but in the direct sunlight. Yo, look at that.
Ja,
watch this when I pull it
gut
out.
halt, ne? Ja, moin.
What? You could see literally where that tape was.
Aber da sehen wir halt auch schon, ne? Es passiert halt wirklich nur was Krasses, wenn halt die Sonne direkt drauf scheint und das halt jetzt seit 2 Wochen in dem Sinne, ohne jeglichen Schutz. Da ist ja ganz normal, dass dann die Karte halt auch im Endeffekt so aussieht, aber es ist trotzdem brutal halt, wenn man sich das vorstellt, halt so, yo, die Karte lag da jetzt einfach nur.
The Lady Ball is a regular card, there's no hollow or anything like that, so we're gonna see how this takes effect into the hollow. As you
Bei
can see,
den
the back
Rainbows
is fine
bin ich
there,
sehr
but
gespannt.
wow. Vintage cards are really interesting because they were printed a very long time ago. Generally speaking, we'll think that the coloration might be actually a little bit more sensitive. This is the Krabby from Indoors, and let's see if there's any differences. Nope, I don't see any differences at all. No tape lines or nothing like that. All right, let's pull out the indirect sun. I don't know, it does look a little lighter, although I don't see any differences in...
Also es sieht halt hier sehr viel gelblicher aus als dort, das muss man einfach sagen. Kann aber auch vom Printrun halt sein, ne?
The lines there, I don't see any tape lines like I said. This looks pretty okay, again, in the shade but outdoors. So let's take a look at the Krabby from the outside.
Ja gut, was ist hier passiert?
It is a little bit wrinkled and curling because of some of the water damage that happened one night it rained. But look at that, you can even see the tape line there. That is absolutely madness. That's pretty insane. Just from 2 weeks outdoors. All right, now we're gonna go to a reverse hollow. So here's the reverse hollow Caterpie. We're gonna see if the hollow actually has anything to do with any protection or coloration. It's a different kind of paper style. Let's go with Indoors. We're not
Also wir
even
können
really
halt mehr oder weniger
examine
sagen,
it 'cause
dass
we know
alle 3 Sachen halt hier am Anfang nichts Großartiges machen.
this is gonna be pretty much okay at this point. Now let's check the indirect from outside. Let's see if there's
Dankeschön
any
für den
tape
Sub hier.
lines.
Oder beziehungsweise für die Gifted Subs hier von MDH. Kuss, danke dir.
No, I don't see really any major differences here. Now let's take a look at the direct
Ein Shiny ist es. Es ist wirklich einfach ein Shiny geworden, Alter, wie gut.
sunlight. Ooh, look at the color differences there. Even the hollow pattern seems to have a little bit of discoloration. Let's actually open this card up. Oh, okay. Yes, you can see the difference right there along the tape line. Definitely the sun wins again. All right, let's move on to a regular hollow. This one is indoors, indirect, sunlight. This one is indirect outside. Let's see if there's anything happening here. Not really, but again, a little bit of warping. And then finally we have the direct sunlight. Frostless does not look
Ach
happy.
du Heilige.
Right here, you can see that the hollow form is just a little bit...
Ich finde, Faded-Karten haben irgendwie was halt, ne? Bei Yu-Gi gibt es halt auch Leute, die Faded-Karten tatsächlich sammeln.
It's not where the sun had exposure to it. Again, the sun, you don't want to mess with it. This is why we put sunscreen on, right? Here is the Starmie, which is a different kind of paper. So we're going to see how this was. Now the indoor one, of course, looks just perfectly fine. Now we got the indirect outdoors. This one looks okay too. And then finally, direct sunlight. Now this one doesn't seem to have too much damage. Let's
Yeah,
pull it out
sieht echt
slowly
nicht
so you
so
can see if there's
krass
any
aus.
lines there. No, I mean, not really. So it looks like the GX cards here, cards like this, seem to be doing okay. All right, Ball Guy, how are you doing?
Es ist halt krass, das zu sehen, dass die Ultra Rares tatsächlich etwas stärker sind und etwas mehr abkönnen in dem Sinne als die Commons.
And then finally, we got the Ball Guy from the direct sunlight exposure, and not as bad.
Nicht jetzt, dass ich sagen würde, yo, die Karte war 2 Tage oder 2 Wochen lang draußen und wurde von der Sonne bestrahlt.
The paper and the color treatment's a little bit different. Next, we have a rainbow card. The
Da bin ich
only
jetzt
rainbow
gespannt,
card out
ey.
of Shining Fates, the Alchemy VMAX. Let's look at the indoor version of that. That's looking quite nice. Then we have the indirect sunlight here. Yeah, the rainbow doesn't look like it's affected at all. Let's take a look at the direct sunlight. Out of all the cards so far, this one has had the least amount of change. The rainbow's still there, colors are still vibrant. They all look pretty good. All right, and then finally, we have our gold card. Indirect outdoors. It does look okay. That's not too bad.
Ja, klar, die haben halt dicke...
That looks...
Hier ist zum Beispiel sehr viel passiert halt, ne? Also die ist halt wirklich ausgeblichen worden.
Yeah,
So
you can definitely,
bronzefarben.
there's the angle right there. That's what I see with my eyes as well.
Yeah.
Definitely the shine is gone. And yeah.
Und hier siehst du halt auch, dass das Wasser halt einen Job getan hat, ne? Die hat sich richtig vollgesogen, weil hier so knack, 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 knicke.
It's faded. Let's look at the booster boxes. So here we go. This is the Eevee Heroes booster box. Oh, wow, look at the yellow back here and look at the yellow there. This was the same yellow. Oh yeah, look at that. I mean, some of the paint's gonna come off. Or the printing, but let's see if we can slowly, wow.
Das ist so heftig halt, ne? Sonnenlicht ist halt wirklich eine gefährliche Sache, das kann ich euch auch sagen. Seid nicht zu lange in der Sonne.
Right on the Umbreon's head, Leafeon is sort of cut in half, Jolteon is completely faded, Flareon, you can't even tell it was a fire Pokemon. So definitely don't leave your booster boxes out. Here's an English one. In the back, you can see kind of how vibrant it is.
Und hier vorne wieder komplett weg.
Not so much. There's the biggest difference right there. Look
Als
at the
würdest du
yellow
einfach die
is totally
Sättigung
gone
rausnehmen bei den
in
ganzen
Pokemon.
Sachen.
That is insane. Alright, let's move on to the
Graded Cards. Ich bin sehr gespannt, was sagt ihr? Glaubt ihr, bei Graded Cards ist viel passiert? Die waren ja halt auch nur in den gegradeten Slabs, nicht in diesen UV-Schutzhüllen, die man nochmal drum macht.
Right, here is our Froakie. This one was in the box, looking pretty good. So we had the top loader. Let's pull this out and see if there's any differences. Whoa, look at that. You can see that the border color matches in the middle where the tape
Selbst durch den
was.
Toploader halt, ne?
Outside of that, the card is pretty faded, and just the sun did so much damage to it. Next, let's take a look at the card saver. Ooh, yeah, just
Selber
like
ebenfalls halt.
coloration's really what took a hit there. You can see it there clearly.
Oh,
All right,
war
next,
natürlich
we're
nass.
gonna look at BGS, PSA, and CGC. First, let's look at CGC. Wow. Okay, I
Gar nichts.
Ich hab gar nichts gemacht.
do see it is just a
Oder?
tad bit. Oh, you know what? That's pretty good. CGC, Sun Protection. All right, next up,
Das
let's look
ist
at
sehr
Beckett.
strong. Ich würde sogar Beckett wünschen.
BGS Grading, boom, Froakie,
Ist halt einfach ein
9.5.
verdammt hartes Case,
And-
ne?
Okay,
Nothing.
all right. That looks pretty darn good. We got those deep colors, unlike the top loader and the card
Theoretisch kannst du einfach nur hier gucken, wo der Streifen halt war, ne? Das ist eigentlich das Wichtigste.
saver. Actually, the BGS, I think, had a better print run. It just looks darker to begin with. All right, that's 2 for 2. And then finally, we have PSA. And we got... Yo, you...
Yo! PSA kackt rein in dem Sinne. Das ist krass halt, ne? Wenn man das so sieht, dass die anderen tatsächlich UV geschützt sind, aber PSA trotzdem noch am angesehensten und am größten ist. Das wundert mich jetzt gerade heftig.
There is a darker section
Holy
there where the
shit.
tape was. It's not as terrible as the one that was in the top loader, clearly, but that line matches up.
Trotzdem halt, aber allein, dass du was merken kannst, ist schon, finde ich, heftig. Selbst oben das Rote ist halt ausgeblichen worden, natürlich halt, ne? Das spricht auf jeden Fall für die anderen Grading-Firmen und nicht für PSA.
Obviously,
Muss man einfach
you'd
sagen.
be kind of not so smart if you bring your PSA cards outside in the direct sun. But hey, what if you were at a flea market or a swap meet and you wanted to sell these things? Well, don't put them in the sun. But hey, you never know. There's a lot of outdoor conventions and card conventions going on. Definitely don't want to bring these cards outside for sure. The sun will damage it.
Sehr, sehr geiles Video. Checkt auf jeden Fall hier, ne, die Pocket Monster ab. Kann ich euch nur empfehlen. Fand ich für mich persönlich einfach als Sammler und YouTuber super interessant. Ist halt auch, glaube ich, für Leute, die eventuell ihre Karten displayen wollen, eine gute Sache herauszufinden, yo, welchen Cases, in was für Zuständen ich Karten wohin packen kann. Mega interessant, mega cool. Thumbs up, checkt ihn ab.